Hey, it's me, Dr. Daniel, and I just want to talk a little bit about testosterone as I've been getting a lot of questions recently from a lot of gentlemen and a few women regarding sex hormone replacement, specifically surrounding testosterone. First of all, testosterone is a hormone that, just like many other hormones, is not as simple as saying, oh, my testosterone's low or my testosterone is high, so it needs to be adjusted, right? I don't recommend topping off hormones with that in that aspect. For example, testosterone tells our muscles to grow new muscle tissue. We know that. So obviously you would think that if testosterone helps to grow muscles, more testosterone equals more muscle. Not necessarily. In fact, the differences in testosterone and the utilization of testosterone is why we all respond differently to exercise. I mean, you could have two different individuals, one with high testosterone, the other one with low testosterone, and what you would expect in terms of outcomes of the exercise that they do doesn't necessarily correlate with their levels of hormones. So this is where people can get really confused. Testosterone travels in the blood and enters a target cell, let's say your muscle cell, for example. In that instance, it's going to be converted to DHT, which is an enzyme known as 5-alpha reductase. And that DHT binds to something called the androgen receptor. Now, this DHT androgen receptor complex then moves into the nucleus of your cell and increases the synthesis of anabolic proteins. Okay, great. That's how you get muscles, right? Now, what you need to understand here is that the action of testosterone, just like other molecules in your body, is going to be dependent on the presence of other molecules. So it's not just this DHT androgen receptor complex. Think of your physiology like a song. And just like in any song you love, you've got the singer, you've got the guitarist, you've got the drums, you've got other instruments. Now, without certain instruments, or when you change the singer, when you use a different one, it's just not the same, right? It's incomplete. It doesn't sound the same. So that's what could be happening within our body when we are missing certain nutritional requirements for these things to occur. So therefore, if other molecules that are important for the actions of testosterone aren't present, if they're in too low concentrations, the physiological outcome, the anabolism, the hypertrophy is not going to occur. And this is exactly why testosterone is not a good predictor of hypertrophy or muscle growth in healthy individuals. You can have a situation where a man or even a woman has low concentrations of testosterone, and yet they're bulked up, right? They're training really well and they respond well to training. And then you have other situations where you have individuals that have high levels of testosterone, and yet you don't see the response with respect to resistance training. So, again, there's instances where you have individuals that have low levels of testosterone and they respond very well. And then you have the opposite of that. Why? Because it's not just about the testosterone. You could have a situation where somebody has lower levels of testosterone, but again, maybe they also have normal or higher amounts of the other synergistic compounds, the molecules necessary to increase the effectiveness of testosterone. If you have high testosterone because of replacement, let's just say, for example, but you don't have all the other nutrients needed for the anabolic cascade to work, no dice. You're not going to get the benefits that you're expecting. So understand that physiology is way more complex than we think. It's not as easy as just increasing low testosterone to high testosterone. It's not as easy as replacing estradiol or adding more progesterone. You got to be thinking about the complete complex of everything that's going on within our body, all the various biochemical cascades. And that is why in functional medicine, we're not just looking at a monotherapy. We're not just looking at trying to add testosterone to help you to increase those levels. We want to take a look at everything else that's happening in the context of your life to be able to create balance and synergy. And again, even when somebody has low levels of testosterone, if they have everything else working the way it needs to be, they're going to have a much greater response with respect to that testosterone than somebody that's trying to force it by injecting something into their ass that maybe is not going to even result in something better for them. I hope that really makes sense. I hope you hear this message, and I hope that it helps you to understand a little bit more about how testosterone works in our body.